This video is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. More on them later. What's up again, everybody? We are under 2 months away from the official release of Disney's Lorcana, hopefully, or allegedly, or maybe. I don't know. It depends on where you stand on the game itself. I, as a fan of the game and want to play the game, am hoping that it comes out on August 18th, but there could be some complications. And I will say this, even though there has been an unfortunate and quite worrying lawsuit that could put a stopper to the game itself, perhaps, the biggest obstacle that Lorcana might have to overcome actually, in my opinion, doesn't fall with this lawsuit. But if you're just getting caught up to speed, let me explain what happened a few weeks ago to you now. So let's take a look at this very legal document, because Upper Deck Games, the Upper Deck game company, is suing Ravensburger, the creator of Disney Lorcana, and saying that basically one of the members, the creative director of Disney's Lorcana, Ryan Miller, who was previously working for Upper Deck Games, left that company after spending a large amount of time, I think 3 years or so, 2 years, creating a game for them, and took basically all of that that kind of private information and those mechanics and that game, essentially just lifted it along with him as he left that company, brought it to Ravensburger, and created Lorcana out of it. And you can see a lot of the information here at the allegations here on page 4 of this document. If you really want to look at this document, I'll post a link in the description of this video, and you can take a look at it for yourself. But essentially right here kind of spells out the story. So here's the story of what is being alleged by Upper Deck Games. In 2018, they held a gaming summit where they wanted to bring together game designers and kind of hash out mechanics and ideas for a brand new trading card game, something unique, something different from anything on the market. And they came up with the ideas that would eventually become this unreleased, sort of unheard of TCG called Rush of Ichor. And through this process, Ryan Miller is alleged to have been brought on as the lead developer of this game, the lead game designer, and he started creating the game mechanics along with others and kind of fleshing things out and building up the game. And eventually, he decided to leave the company on or around October 21st, 2020. He terminated his work for hire agreement and went to work for a competitor. In that case, it was Ravensburger. Ravensburger, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Anyway, he left to go work for this company, and they continued to develop the game behind closed doors as they did. They did say that the leaving of Ryan Miller caused delay and interruption in the game development process, which is why we didn't see anything else, and of course, increased cost incurred by Upper Deck for probably having to hire new people and try to reform things and kind of pick up the pieces where I guess Ryan Miller's departure kind of caused distractions and destruction, if you will. Nevertheless, they kind of made these decisions when Ravensburger announced Lorcana and showed off the mechanics of the game, and at which point they say that they compared those two games and that they were basically carbon copies of each other. And they give an overview. If you're really interested, there's an overview of Rush of Ichor here, of how the game plays. They talk about how it's very similar to Lorcana. There's a lot of compelling ideas and arguments. There's a lot of mechanics that are shared across both games. I would also argue that there's a lot of mechanics that something like a Lorcana or maybe this Rush of Ichor shares with a game. I don't know, like Keyforge. There's a lot of similarities there. There's a lot of similarities to mechanics that the game itself shares with other card games like Duel Masters. Really, the interesting thing is that there's a lot of similarities across a lot of card games, no matter how unique you are, but I think this case hinges on the fact that a lead designer at one company left to another company and created a similar game. And so whether or not they have a leg to stand on is for the courts to decide. I couldn't tell you one way or the other. I'm not a lawyer. But if I was looking for higher education possibilities, I know where I would start, and that's with today's sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University. Look, I'm a teacher by trade, and I have been one for a decade, so I have some opinions on education and higher education. Don't get me started on AP courses. And in my opinion, Southern New Hampshire University is a fantastic option if you're looking to find a flexible, affordable, and robust higher education experience. With over 200 degrees offered, Southern New Hampshire University offers programs in business, healthcare, criminal justice, technology, even video game design. And check this out, they even offer a game development degree with focus on game art and design, or game programming and development. And in this program, you'll learn how to create realistic, dynamic gameplay experiences with game AI, game physics, 2D, 3D graphics. You'll learn computer programming languages like C++ and Java. You'll learn 3D modeling and texturing with game art software. And you can even learn how to research, develop, and contribute to advances and trends within the field of game programming. This degree will literally equip you with the tools that you could use to go out and build the next Counter-Strike or that game Only Up, which honestly, let's be honest, that game is like really basic. You could probably really make that honestly like really easily. They probably just found a bunch of like assets and just threw them around in the map. Anyway, if any of this sounds intriguing to you and you're ready to take the next steps into your first career, or maybe you want to shift out of the day-to-day that you have right now, go into the link in the description, check it out for yourself, see what they have to offer. Thank you again to SNHU for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to it. Nevertheless, what they are essentially looking to cause with this lawsuit, what they're looking to get out of it, is they're looking for, this is their prayer for relief here, they're looking for damages kind of to be paid out. They are looking for injunctive release. Basically, they want Ravensburger to not publish Lorcana. They want to stop the publishing of Lorcana, which is really tricky because they did this, and now a month and a half, or 2 months, I should say, down the line is the release date. So everything is basically prepped and set, most likely, for Lorcana to release, but now they're trying to halt it with this, and depending on how, the court moves, how quickly it moves, whether or not that's a possibility is really up in the air. But this is what they're essentially looking for out of this court case. And I will point you on Twitter, if you are a Twitter user, I will point you to one specific user who I think sums this up so beautifully. You should go and look at all their tweets on this subject, because they are a lawyer and I'm not. And that's Paul here. Paul is a lawyer. Let's see, let's just click on Paul's face here. He is a plaintiff's litigator, and he has covered in depth what he believes is going to happen with this court case, and whether, Upper Deck has a case to stand on, or if Ravensburger is going to be able to kind of put this away quietly, or if they, basically if you think it's going to settle, or if they're going to go to court and what's going to happen from that. Highly recommend that you go follow Paul and figure out what he has to say, because he's far smarter than me on the subject. But I will say this, I actually don't think that this is the most worrying, or I guess dangerous thing, the biggest obstacle that Lorcana has to overcome, and here's why. The interesting thing about this court case and its implications, to me, doesn't fall within the actual court case itself. It falls to the court of public opinions. What you can do nowadays, whether you like it or not, is run a very effective smear campaign on just about anything and anyone you want. And this is one way that a company who may very well have legs to stand on and could very well perhaps win this case eventually, can at the very least really tamp down either the excitement or the belief or the legitimacy of a competitor in the form of Disney Lorcana. And that is one dangerous thing, because if you now go to someone and you say, hey, I'm excited about Disney Lorcana, what do you think? And they know anything about this court case, the first thing they could think to themselves, if they don't have a dog in the fight, is, hey, isn't that stolen game? Isn't it the game that is basically a carbon copy and someone just walked out of that company and stole that? That is a dangerous thing to have floating around there in the court of public opinions, because the overall opinion of your work and your game and really anything that you're doing can easily be affected in some way, shape, or form, by a smear campaign via this. Now, I'm not saying that this is totally unbased. I'm not saying that, Upper Deck is completely wrong in their assumptions and these games are not the same. And I'm not saying that they couldn't win. All I'm saying is that by putting this out there the way that they did, and by making it very public, they did a very effective job of kind of making everybody think, is that game really legit? And it may not be legit. Now, the next and most important thing that I think this all leads to, if you push down the expectation that this game is either legitimate or successful or anything like that, is going to be successful, and this is where I think Lorcana could really stumble, and I really worry. If local game stores, see this and also kind of engage with the product at first or struggle to get product and sell it then, if this is a problem and they don't buy in long term, then Lorcana could be dead on arrival before it even gets to the future sets that they have planned. What Ravensburger, and really this is true of any TCG, what any TCG needs when it releases is buy-in from local communities and local game stores. Whoa, stop right there. Okay, look, it's me from the future. I recorded this video a couple of days ago, and I do want to point out one thing and give credit sort of where credit is due. Lorcana did go through, over the past couple of days and reach out to a bunch of stores in a bunch of different areas saying, hey, you are part of the sort of local game store ecosystem that can run, OP events and things like that. So they did actually reach out to a bunch of game stores, and there was, from what I could tell from the stores that I saw, a good number of a good amount of palpable excitement with regards to those announcements, and it does seem that those announcements did a lot to ingratiate the game itself into perhaps those stores themselves. Of course, that is very anecdotal based on what I saw on the internet. So it could be that just the stores that were, invited to that got really excited about the game. Nevertheless, it's things like that games need to do in general in order to kind of ingratiate themselves with local game stores. They need to connect on some level with organized play or, with specialty like buy a box promos, things like that. They can get people into the store and get people buying product from local game stores. Because to think that the IP itself can carry the game is both true and also perhaps misleading. Because yes, Disney is one of the strongest IPs out there, period, end of story. And there will always be people to buy Disney things. This is all true. But you can't expect Disney's Lorcana to function the same as something like a Pokemon, wherein you sell all of your product via big box stores and you just make it like a novelty item that you put in big box stores. Because Pokemon doesn't even function that way. Pokemon has a really deep, firmly entrenched position in local game stores. It makes local game stores money, hand over fist. Lorcana can do the same thing if they can solve supply issues, if they can have good connections and communication with LGSs, if they can pull people into LGSs to buy the product. And that, to me, is perhaps the largest and biggest hurdle that this game has to overcome on the outset in a couple of months. If it does not hit the ground running and pull people into local game stores to purchase this product, local game stores are less likely to pick it up. Local game stores can't support thousands of games all at once. They can only reach their tendrils out to a few things before they're just cash negative, right? If they can't become one of those kind of pillars in the local game store that can sell, can move product, can get product, then this game is going to struggle on the outset. That, to me, is the biggest hurdle, and in some ways is influenced by, of course, the court order that we saw and talked about at the beginning of this video. So I want to know what you think. Do you think I'm off base? Is this completely crazy? Do you think the game is just going to succeed right away? Or do you think that they're going to have to work on those supply things and they're going to have to nail that intro first couple of weeks and getting people in the stores to maybe play the game and to buy the game and to collect the game and, in my opinion, really play the game? That's what I think is really going to sell it if the game plays well and people really engage with it and have a good time with it. I am rooting for it because I want to play this game. I want to play it with my friends. I want to play it with my family. So I am all aboard. I am so excited, and I hope that we can get our hands on it, and I hope that everything is on the up and up and good to go. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to make the number go slightly higher because we will be doing more Lorcana content in the future, and you'll want to hit subscribe so that you can see that stuff. As always, thanks for watching.